Astronomers today use sophisticated telescopes of all kinds to discover galaxies at the far reaches of the universe. These engineering marvels are the direct descendants of the humble glass lenses used by Italian astronomer Galileo Galilei some 400 years ago.
Galileo's big thing was the telescope, and all of a sudden he had an instrument which none of the ancients had, and he could discover uncharted territory.
To Galileo, it seemed plainly obvious that the universe was not the perfect, symmetrical, and Earth-centered universe that most people believed it was. Instead, he found a messy, off-center, and chaotic universe, one that was infinitely fascinating, at least to Galileo. Upon discovering that Jupiter had moons, he named them after the powerful Medici family to incur their patronage and protection. For it was no small matter, especially during the Inquisition, to upend centuries of church dogma that claimed the Earth was the center of the universe. But the publication of his radical findings in 1610 hardly created a stir at the Vatican. Emboldened, Galileo, a devout Catholic, went further. He attempted to reconcile Scripture with his astronomical findings.
He really wanted to set them straight about the way they interpreted the Bible in terms of what was going on in the skies. And that's where he started to get in trouble.
Facing schism from Protestantism throughout Europe, the Church felt threatened. Interpreting Scripture was not only the domain of the Church, it was the source of its power. The Vatican would not tolerate a layperson such as Galileo usurping that responsibility.
He was told not to hold or teach Copernicanism, the heliocentric universe. And then as time went on, he got bolder and bolder.
In 1633, Galileo was summoned by Urban VIII to stand trial for heresy before the Inquisition, where he was forced to give up all his Copernican ideas.
Basically, it was a local Italian embroglio as to who had the authority to say how the world was. Cosmology was, in a way, a secondary issue.
For Galileo, who spent the rest of his life under house arrest at his villa outside Florence, it was the primary issue. Blind and increasingly frail, he quietly held fast to his heliocentric beliefs and died in 1642.
I tend to think that the balance of history is a little more in favor of Galileo. In fact, you had a somewhat satirical Galileo tweaking the wrong people at the wrong time, but he was fundamentally right. And the trial of Galileo and the house arrest of Galileo was one of the dark moments in church history.